This information is for entertainment only. Everyone is free to think whatever they want. Choose wisely.
What are those things that we understand as feelings? According to science, feelings are reactions to something, and we don't have so much control of it. According to the higher dimensional beings, feelings are reactions which can be fully controlled by us. We have feelings, we can feel them, but how do they get triggered? According to science, feelings get triggered by memories, experiences, or past events. The higher dimensional beings agree with this, but there's an important thing missing here: the beliefs. If somebody tells you that your green t-shirt looks horrible, but you know that you have a red t-shirt, you probably will not care about what they just said. But if you're not aware that you have a red t-shirt and they tell you that your green t-shirt looks horrible, you might believe them and you might react to it. If you're aware of the color that you have and somebody tells you something that is not true for you, then you don't react, or you can choose how to react. According to the higher dimensional beings, we always choose how to react. Always, every single time. Every small or big reaction, we choose it, all the time. The choice is always made by us. We might be aware of it or not, but the choice is always made, every single time. You might be thinking, but when I feel something, I just feel it, and that's it. Yes, we feel the reaction, but we probably didn't pay attention to how the choice was made. It is possible to be aware of our choices all the time. This might be hard to believe for some people, and it's okay. It is understandable. It's hard to believe something that we haven't seen. But what if we start to pay attention to it and we see it all the time? We would be aware of our choices all the time. And once we are aware of our choices, we might decide to choose something different. In other words, once we are aware of how we choose to react, we can consciously decide how to react every single time. It is like being in control of our choices. Now, I understand that many people believe that we have to experience our feelings as they are. But the feelings are never as they are. The feelings are always a choice. And the choice was made consciously or unconsciously. So if we are just feeling our feelings as they are, basically what we are saying is that we are not paying attention to the choice we just made. And it's okay if you want to live unconsciously. According to the higher dimensional beings, if we pay attention to the choices we make all the time, we will be more aware of our feelings and where they come from. We will be aware of what choices we have made. When we are angry and we are not aware that we are angry, we might do things that we would not do when we are in a more neutral emotional state. In other words, our emotional state has a big influence on our actions. Do you see the pattern here? The choices that we make determines the feeling that we experience, and the feeling we experience determines the things we do. In other words, everything we do comes from an emotional state, and that emotional state was a choice that we made based on our beliefs. Do you see why beliefs are very important? Now, every person has a different belief, and we cannot see our beliefs unless we pay attention to it. Okay, let's see it this way. This is our beliefs, and our beliefs are hidden somewhere. We cannot see them unless we think about something. For example, if somebody comes and tells us the word house, we will take this word and we will go and check in our beliefs. And from our beliefs, we will take an idea of what this word represents to us. As you can see, we cannot see the idea that we have about house unless we think about it and we observe what comes from our beliefs. First, we receive a stimulus, in this case, the word house. Then we go and check our beliefs, and the beliefs give us a mental image, or a story. This is what I call forms. Then, when we have a form, we choose a feeling, and our feeling makes us behave in a specific way. We never learned these things in school, and it was done on purpose. If we don't know this information, we cannot even imagine that we can be aware of our reactions. And this is how most of the people in the world live, unconsciously. According to the higher dimensional beings, if they tell us this information, we could learn how to be conscious of our thoughts, beliefs, forms, feelings, and reactions. If we learn how to live consciously, they cannot control us anymore. This is why we don't receive this information. This is how we live consciously, being conscious of our triggers. Once we are conscious of our triggers, we can make conscious choices. And trust me, once we are conscious of our choices, we start to choose many things differently. If somebody tells us that we have a horrible green t-shirt, it doesn't affect us, unless we want it because we are conscious of our choices. Once we are conscious of our choices, we will feel our feelings. And we will also see the choices that we have made and made us experience those feelings. We will see the root of our feelings and we will have the chance to choose differently if we want to do that. Do you see how everything is a choice, consciously or unconsciously? Living consciously can change many things in our lives. We will not get affected by anything unless we want it. We can be consciously happy and keep ourselves for a longer time in that state if we choose. Being aware of our choices doesn't mean being in control of the world around us. Being aware of our choices means that we are in control of how we experience the world around us. Feelings are subjective, which means that every person experiences feelings based on their choices. The same happens with reality. The reality for every person depends on their emotional state. And if we make conscious choices, we can more consciously choose what type of reality we want to experience. Reality is not the same for everyone. Reality is experienced for every person based on their choices. Science believes that reality is objective, which means that they believe that reality should be experienced the same way by every person. They are trying to force everyone to see everything the same way. And if you don't, you have schizophrenia or something else. Do you see how this is manipulation? We have the choice to believe whatever we want. But since most people believe that reality has to be experienced the same way by everyone, whoever controls information, it controls the way how reality should be experienced. Do you see why most people in the world believe similar things? This is why it's important to think for ourselves. When you start thinking for yourself, many people will see you as a weird person because your opinions are not popular. But just because many people think in one way, it doesn't mean that it's better, or that everyone has to think the same way. Thinking for ourselves will set us free. It will set us free from the mental prison that we put ourselves with our own beliefs. For example, many people believe that it's normal to be sick, but it's not normal. Many people, including myself, we don't believe that we can be sick, and we are never sick. According to the higher dimensional beings, being sick is a consequence of many negative unconscious choices we make. For example, if we have to do something important and we don't have so much time, we might feel stressed. Now, the stress was a choice, probably an unconscious choice, unless you consciously decide to feel stress. Once we are aware of our choices, we can do things in any state we want. The stress was just an automatic reaction of the unconscious choice. And the automatic reaction happens because we all have similar beliefs. Beliefs that were inserted in us for many years. And the only way to change these beliefs is thinking for ourselves. Once we are conscious of our choices, we will probably not choose to be stressed. We will be masters of our feelings. And we could do the same things as before, just not affected emotionally. This will improve dramatically the interaction we have with our reality, including other people, like family, friends, and colleagues at work. This will also improve dramatically the communications with the higher dimensional beings. When we have feelings, we create a specific energy around our body. When we experience fear, this creates a specific energy around our body, and this energy attracts specific beings, not the good ones. The feeling of unconditional love is a type of energy that will keep us closer to the higher dimensional beings. Many people say that they experience unconditional love all the time, but this is probably not true, and it's okay. We have to be very honest with ourselves. There is a difference between what we think we should be feeling and what we actually feel. We have to observe our feelings as they are, not as we think they should be. Once we are conscious of the choices that trigger our feelings, we will have a better control of our feelings, and nobody will make us feel anything unless we choose to feel it. If somebody tells many people that they will die if they don't put something in their bodies, many people will react unconsciously. They will get scared and they will do something. So, just with information, they can make people do things without even touching them. You just need to give them information that creates an unconscious reaction on them. This information will trigger unconscious feelings in them, and this feeling will create an unconscious reaction. Once we are conscious of our reactions based on the information we receive, we choose how to react. It is like someone telling us that our green t-shirt is horrible. We can even play with our mind, and we can imagine that our t-shirt has any color we want. This will be like playing with forms. There are some exceptions, but mostly our feelings are reactions to forms, and this reaction was a choice, consciously or unconsciously. It happens all the time. Even right now, you are reacting to this video. Observe your reaction more often until eventually it becomes part of your daily life. It is possible. We are consciousness, and wherever we put our attention is where consciousness is. In other words, wherever we put our attention is where we are. We are so used to focusing on the external world, and this is where our consciousness is most of the time, in the external world. And the external world is just a consequence of our internal world. So if we focus more on the internal world, we will change how we experience our external world. Meditation is a good training. If we don't have stimulations, we can easily focus on our internal world. Once we're interacting with the external world, we are having many stimulations. And in this moment is when it's more difficult to keep observing our internal world. Meditation is like a training where we observe our internal world without stimulations. So once we are in the external world with many stimulations, we can be more prepared to stay in the internal world. The most difficult moments in the external world are very good tests for us. Meditation is like a training which could help us to pass our lessons or tests in the external world. Can you see why it's so important? We can do much more with meditation, but for now, let's focus on this. Feelings are not happening randomly as science believes. They just don't want to tell you that you can be conscious of those feelings and that you can choose them. As you can see, feelings are powerful, but we have to be conscious of our choices. Otherwise, somebody else can use our feelings and make us do anything they want with us. Remember, having information is very easy. Practicing is very different. Now you know that it's important to observe your feelings and the forms that trigger those feelings. Now, practice every day, all the time. Observe your forms, choose what to feel, choose wisely, and play with your reality. Thank you.